Let me lead in with that. I did not, I was pleasantly surprised when we did the correlation that it came out number 2 from purposeful vision. I was pleasantly surprised when purposeful vision was number 1, because that's the theory. The creative orientation is driven by who am I really, what do I care about, and how do I get about that as a leader and get people aligned, which is where teamwork comes in. Right. So this goes all the way back to my years with Innovation Associates, Peter Senge, Charlie Kiefer, Robert Fritz. Driving force, vision, clarity about what I care about, what I'm trying to create. And that the fastest way to build alignment in a team or an organization is to get them to help them figure out how being about what matters most to me personally lines up with what matters most to the organization. And then you naturally come into alignment or high performance teamwork. And so this whole notion of vision catalyzing alignment was a central part of the model in the early days. And so I could not include teamwork in the thing. And then so then when we did the correlation, number 1 was purposeful vision, number 2 was teamwork. And when you put them together in a kind of regression or combination, nothing matches it. It explains so much of the variability in leadership effectiveness that it is the strongest combination, the yin and the yang, that purpose-driven task orientation and the ability to align key stakeholders, employees, organizations around playing together. The word play was deliberate, because when teams are the high performing teams are having fun. They love working together. It's creative, it's generative, it's fun, it's playful. And actually, it's right near a caring connection. They love each other. The best teams love each other. And so it's not work when you're playing together that way. So I couldn't call it teamwork as the industry does. I had to call it team play. And because that's the higher form of it. So that's where it came from.
I always appreciate that description, Bob, in a way that it really informs me. So, visionary, purposeful, visionary, highest correlation with leadership effectiveness, business results, same thing. And then I go over onto the relating side with fosters team play. And those two in combination are the multiplier. So when I look at a leader's profile, I can very quickly go right to, if we're not doing that pretty well on both the achieve results side with purposeful and visionary, and we aren't fostering team play over here on the relationship side, then there's a liability there in one's effectiveness as a leader that is hard to make up for it with anything else. Other than I obviously can fall down into control to compensate for some of it, but those two have to play themselves. Really key for high performance. If I'm going to be the most effective leader on those two competencies in and of themselves, I have to have those nailed. I've got to be good at it. And if those scores are low or one's high and the other's low, then I've got an inverse relationship. I'm not quite where I need to be because I'm not getting the amplifier out of it. The two together amplify, they multiply. And any leader, regardless of what the position is, regardless of where they are in the organization, when they have a formal title of leader, needs to be able to work in both of those creative competencies and be effective at them and continue to get more effective and more effective and more effective, especially around these two areas. The one that Bob mentioned first, and the second one. What outcomes matter to me that align with my personal purpose and the organization's purpose and vision, so that those come in together. They come in together in a way that I can find myself here in this organization. And what I do on a day to day basis, what I put my life's blood into, is actually not just creating the purpose organizationally, it has meaning and purpose to me. And I do that with a team of people that I love being with, I love to work with. I want to do great work with people I love. Wow, okay, that's not a bad way to think about one's life. As a leader, how do you create that environment? Doesn't mean that, well, let's see, we're going to hire for people that are relationally going to be close to each other and love our exists. Well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But how is it that we create inside that team environment? We're going to have fun together. We're going to achieve together. We're going to get results together. We're going to do something that maybe never could have been done by another team as well or as excited as we can. And all that process, they're going to be some of the closest relations we have. And that includes that we really do love one another. Like, wow, okay, there it is. That's a heck of a combination. Take that as your 101 on leadership.
Yeah.
Just flat out 101 on leadership. And for some of us, present company included here, I thought I was really pretty good at fostering team play. And I had to learn how. I had to learn how to not just be team leader. I had to learn how to be good teammate. I had to learn what it meant to build a team, not just direct a team. I had to learn what it meant to be on a team, not just tell the team what to do. And that can't be learned. That's the other piece of this, is that all of this with science and art is something that we know what great leadership is, and we know how to develop it. That's something we may not have been able to say when it comes to fostering team play. We know how to build teams. We know what to do there, but it takes a lot of who I am to make sure that gets in line with what makes teams effective and high performance. I love those two in combination. You can't, it's hard to not talk about one without talking about the other.
You and I have been around this industry long enough to know that we had to break our pick on this touchy-feely relational side of leadership. Man, in our early careers, did you get pushback on that? I think that's
love. I mean, what?
Yeah. People, that's a touchy-feely stuff. That's the soft stuff.
That's soft.
And then we did our research on scaling leadership. And what we did there really briefly was we sorted our database into two groups initially: really high creative, high effective, and really low creative, high reactive, low effective, and senior leaders. And we sampled, and then we read their comments. And our researchers sorted them into themes, and then we rank ordered how many comments in this area and so on. Those top 10 lists couldn't be more different. High creative leaders, 6 out of the top 10 were people. People. Foster's teamwork was right in the hunt. And so this capacity to develop people and teams is essential to great leadership. Those skills did not show up on the highly reactive leader skills. What showed up there was technical competence, really technically competent. Creative leaders were equally technically complimented in the comments. So they got similar scores there, but way more scores on people. So it just suggested that this combination of driving results from the creative, not from the reactive, purpose driven results focus combined with this capacity to develop people and teams is the kind of winning combination. And
Beautiful. So appreciate this conversation, Robert, that you play in here, because the magic in that model, really, if you will, the magic of the sauce here is that when it comes to scaling the capacity and capability of an organization, it requires being able to go from what we're talking about on the task side, on purpose and visionary, and doing that in a team environment. So we first talk about it and we say, okay, build and develop your team, and then start to work on your team of teams. So a system of teams is the way organizations now work, and it's a structure and what it means to be able to build that ecosystem of fostering team play within each of those teams, and within that ecosystem of teams that we start to get the synergy and the amplification multiplier effect from all of those teams working together, is really where we start to see that multiplier, the amplifier, and the capacity and capability of the individual leaders becoming the capacity and capability of the collective leadership system in a team and a team of teams environment. The other element of that that's critical in here is that's matching with the more complex world that we're working in now, because it can't be solved by the individual, the heroic leader, one team. It has to be the team of teams. So as complexity goes up, what helps us match that complexity, both in mindset as well as the way we work together in the environment with the way in which we work, is this. That's the difference maker. That's why when we talk about in over our heads, it also means the same thing teams, because it's more and more complex, and we can't do it individually. We have to do it collectively within a team environment to take advantage of the wisdom within the entire system, as opposed to thinking that one individual could sit on top of the system and lead that all. That's really critical, and those two start us down that path.
Which means we get more, the more we can play this way, the more collectively intelligent and effective we become.
Exactly.
Peter Senge once remarked, and I think it's really proven true in my experience, that in most teams, the collective intelligence of the group is below the average intelligence of its members. The collective intelligence is below the average intelligence, which means we come together and we play reactively. And that doesn't allow us to actually work the opposite, where when we come together, the collective intelligence is greater. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And so we can start to say, well, how does the bottom half now mitigate against high performance team play? And you can get there in a lot of different ways. For example, if I'm high complying, high need for approval, I'm low on courage, I don't work the tough issues. I can't bring up the difficult issues and have those conversations in a great way that allows for the team to really gel up or deal with what's in the way. And it undermines the teamwork. And everybody knows it because we're dancing around, the reason meetings take so long is everybody has to position the problem so that nobody in the room's at fault. You can't really have the great conversation. So you can get there from where we were just talking about critical. If you come in harsh critical and level people because they disagree with you, well, teamwork, it can come in from autocratic, and where you're telling people what to do all the time. You're not letting go to let the team learn and develop and building trust. You can get there from perfectionism, where it's never good enough. So anything in the bottom half can start to pull down or undermine the effectiveness of the team. So, or how I show up, do I show up in a way that actually fosters high levels of team play?
And you're playing this one out. So Bob goes back to Peter Sengay's work, and teams come together as a regression towards a lower mean than what they get on the average. So regression towards a lower mean, it requires the team to mature. And in order for a team to mature and come together in that way, it requires the kind of leadership that does exactly what Bob talked about. We give room for learning. We give learn to actually make mistakes, place for making mistakes, getting better, all of that. We get to the point where we can trust each other. We give each other feedback. I had one team years ago. Bob knows this gentleman by the name of Jim McGrain. God rest his soul. He passed away on us. Suddenly, at one point, one of the best leaders that we'd ever worked with. And Jim worked with as the CEO of this company with his top team. And he said, we have to learn how to trust dangerously. I want us to be able to trust dangerously. What that means is that we trust each other to the extent that we know it puts us at a level of risk that it wouldn't be, because we come at it undefended. We come at it in a way that we do. Doesn't mean we do it arbitrarily or any of that, but trust dangerously in a way that we can get what we couldn't get otherwise. Well, that requires team maturity. It requires the right team, the right leader and leaders, and it requires us all to understand that we're all leaders in this system, and we take personal responsibility for that, and we operate it. That's what actually gets us into what we need to deal with the complexity, because it can't be done individually. It has to be done collectively. It has to play itself out. And if anybody's in a committed relationship, let's call it a marriage. Relationships take work. It's not only I have to do my own work, we have to do our work together. We have to put our time in. We have to make it really the very best it can be and let it be the very best it can be. Teams require that kind of work. They require that kind of attention, that kind of connection. Connection is magic within teams when it's happening, when it's working, and you get this synergy and it comes together. And wow, the creation is something that none of us could have done individually. We only could do it collectively. It goes the opposite direction of what Sengay talked about. Not a regression towards a lower mean. It's actually moving up and becoming higher and higher performance. And when it happens, everybody experiences it. You watch us burst into that kind of, wow, look what we have accomplished together. Couldn't have been done without us. We're all contributing. And it's instrumental in that contribution. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And the other thing that occurs to me as you say that is this notion of collective intelligence and effectiveness has never been more important
Than it is today.
than it is today. It's as things get really, really complex, especially now with, I think the challenge is beyond VUCA or BANI, which has been the language,
Doesn't even describe it for me anymore.
We're way beyond that, and we literally have to reinvent some of our fundamental ways of operating in the world: energy systems, financial systems, organizational structures, governance. It's all needs a serious upgrade. And so we were both challenged with how do we thrive? How do we lead in a way that allows us to thrive in a very complex, disrupted environment and reinvent the future at the same time? Future of our business, the future of our ecosystem, even the future of our global systems. How do we position it? How do we be part of the solution as an organization? We've got clients that are taking that challenge on, and nobody knows how to do it. So the challenge now in those kind of, when you step up to that plate, is to lead from unknowing, to lead collectively in unknowing. And that's a real challenge. And so we have to be able to think together beyond what we know. And that takes an unprecedented level of trust and teamwork and and stepping beyond our reactive tendencies, which would have us go, well, I have to know, or I have to be seen this way, or I have to be seen as competent. I have to, right? No, we have to come together and move together into unknown territory. That's a
Uh,
level of collective intelligence that's required of us now.
leading in an unknowing, where the answer is not known, flies in the face of the way we've always defined leadership. Leader knows the answer. Leader's paid to know the answer. Leader gives the answer. Leader is the hero. All of that crap that set everybody up and put us into that system of where I mean, it doesn't mean it didn't serve at the time. It did, and there's service in it. But now we're in a system where you can't get there from here. There is no way. So being able to be as a leader or a member of a team that you're taking on something that is unknown, don't know the answer here. What I do know is that the capacity and capability or the ability to find it exists within this team. We will figure this out. That takes team play in a way that is well beyond anything that we've looked at before. It's a different gig. What an opportunity to perform together. Now add AI to it. Add all of what it is we've got going on and what's possible in there. And you look at it and you go, this could be the best time we've ever been in as a planet, as a society, as a business. We better approach it for what it is as opposed to approaching it from the way that we are right now and the way that we have in the past. So this whole thing that you don't ever consider anybody else's perspective, you don't understand that it's okay to have polarities going on in one organization at the same time. Bob sees it one way, I see it another way, and we're going to do this as opposed to be able to come together, and that goes on and on and on. That's what it means to be in team and performing in a way that you respect one another, you love one another, you're going to learn from each other, you're going to be vulnerable in the areas that you're not strong in, so we can compensate for each other's areas of weakness, and we can lean into our own areas of strength and develop new ones. It goes on and on and on. That is something I sign up for. Like, I want in on that. I want in on that.
Yeah, if you play that out into the integral level of teamwork, team play, Einstein said the intellect has little to do on the road to discovery. And I'm unpacking more and more what that really means. It means that discovery, real discovery, a breakthrough, comes out of the unknown. The unknown is pregnant with possibility. And when I look back over my own life, most of what I've invented and created was first intuitively perceived. It popped in. Wow. Huh. And the real creators describe this process. And so how do we, it takes a very high level of trust and teamwork and respect and honoring of each other to be able to not know and to put ideas out as they come through, some of which is, not very useful. But every now and then, oh my gosh, or it combines with an idea that Bill has. And the next thing you know, we have a whole new vision or understanding of our business. And I've watched that happen with teams a number of times. It happened on our team years ago, and we're still really moving to deliver on what popped in one of our partner meetings, platform vision. And so that level of creative, synergistic, intuitive dialogue together is I think, the highest level of team play that I've experienced.
I'm right there, Bob. As you know, And I love to think through the contrasting from the way that we primarily operate now. Significant portion of the population of leaders that are in organizations still are operating in a more reactive than a creative way, and it's not going to get it. This doesn't boot up on the reactive, and it boots up on the creative, and it boots up the farther we go in the creative and between the creative and the integral and the move into integral. And it's that being okay with the unknown. So you come to a regular management meeting in most companies, last thing you're ever going to say is, I don't know. You, yeah, really? No, actually, we don't know how to do this. Well, that level of vulnerability and being able to be have that kind of vulnerability based trust that I can be vulnerable and not know, and we can be vulnerable together and not know, and it won't be held against us. That's not the way we've operated in the old mechanical military model. Now you look at it and you say, okay, we've gone past that. We actually need to be able to lead in, and that's mindset, and it's my come from as an individual and our come from as a team, and what we do as a team of leaders, not just a team. So this, we're now working with team of leaders, which is another whole area of play. Everybody in the organization needs to develop their leadership capacity capability. Everyone in the team is a leader because we're all contributing to what that means. What does it mean to have a team of leaders? That means ego goes away, means ego is less important than it's ever been before. All that has to play its way out. And that sounds like something that is unachievable. No, it's very, very, very achievable. We just have to work at it. And wow, the outcome there is one beyond anything the rest of us could believe would happen. What is it that only this team can only do now? What is it that we can do together that we couldn't do alone? What is it that we can accomplish together that wouldn't happen otherwise? And that is where it starts to play itself into a spiral that's up as opposed to one that is down. Frankly, I love it and sometimes get overwhelmed by it.
Well, that's why we have the bottom half of the profile. Because when we're scared, there's something in us, there's a part of us which is defining ourselves in a very limiting way. And I'm the one who has to know I'm defined by my ideas and my brilliance. Well, then stepping into the unknown as a leader and not knowing together is like that's a slippery slope to oblivion, right? So uh, that's has when you said ego has to go, well, you don't just toss your ego. You start to see it show up in the challenge. Oh, I feel the fear of that. And that fear is like a GPS coordinates on look right here. This is where you're held back. This is where a part of you is caught in a too small of an identity that isn't up for the challenges that we now have to take on. And then you work it, you pay attention to it. Ultimately, it can dissolve altogether. And then I'm free. Keynotes used to terrify me. I would spend 6 months terrified before a keynote when I first started doing them. Every night, rehearsing it in my head over and over all night long for 6 months. Recently, I had the experience of choicefully walking onto stage of about 300 people with not a thought of what I'm going to talk about. At least for the first 20 minutes, my opening remarks. I had some slides and I had some stuff I wanted to get to. But the opening, I don't know. I walked on and I'm walking on stage and I'm saying to myself, I don't even have the first sentence. And then dropped in to unknowing and let myself speak. It spoke me. So there is a way to step into unknowing and tap an even deeper level of intelligence But if you're caught up in this contracted space, that intelligence is not accessible. And so,
Bob, it's an amount of work that you've done for a long period of time doesn't mean that it's not work that we all can't do. And that preparation that has allowed you to get to where you were and are is amazing. The piece in here that strikes me as you asked that question, Sarah, in addition to what Bob said, is that the why we have the lower half of the profile. Here's what I can tell you won't do it. I can't be the smartest person in the room and have to be the smartest person in the room if I'm going to have this happen. So if I define myself by being the smartest person that goes into every room, that means that I'm not bringing people that are better at things than I am. That means that I'm not actually hiring beyond my own capability. That means that I'm not bringing that competency and capability inside the team. If I have to be in charge of everything, it all comes through me. Every decision is made by me. I control all of it. Then I'm not doing anything with the collective and actually teaching how to perform as a team or fostering team play. And that list just goes on. So every one of those reactive tendencies is a teacher here for me as a leader of where it is that I can get the synergy, where I can get the opposite of how to foster team play and build a team. And where it won't come from on the high to mid reactive, it will come from on the low to mid creative. And any one of those interpersonal intelligence, you just play your way through there. Courageous authenticity, play your way through there. Every one of those will foster team play in a way that brings the team together and go to the opposite end of that, where we're on the other side of that continuum. High arrogance, not the best way to foster team play. High control, not the best way. Never good enough, not the best way. It works against us, not for us. So there is a model of fostering team play that exists within the structure of the UML from reactive to creative, and every one of those things applies. Bob and I one day were chatting about how do you build trust, and Bob said trust is not a competency of the 18 competencies. It's a combination of those competencies. We looked in to say, where here can I build trust within a team that's going to take me to another level? And that combination of competencies, and that applies to everything else that comes hand in hand with being a strong, high-performing team, all sits there right on that creative side.
Yeah. Everything in the bottom half erodes trust. I don't trust that you're going to tell me the truth. Well, I don't feel like you have my back. If you're overly critical, it erodes trust. So everything in the bottom half can erode trust, and everything in the top can build it. So if I'm courageous, if I can tell the truth in a great way, courageous authenticity, or act with high integrity, or show up composed and present, all of that builds trust and thereby teamwork.
I got to tell you that it's just sitting in these conversations and Sarah, Andrew having this opportunity reminds me of every time we do it, why I value and appreciate and love you so much, Bob. Just the way that I've learned and how I've grown and how I've developed by being in a relationship with you, and what that's done for me and the quality of every relationship in my life. Because it's literally built on what I get to learn and apply, and how I get to be in relationship with someone I deeply respect and admire. So I want to tell you, coming to the end of this conversation, thank you for your work in the world.
Bill, you know that we were meant to do this together. So you've been such a great support, loving support for me, and helped me bring my game to a whole level.
I appreciate that. I know it goes both ways. And wow, is that ever a blessing? And, Sarah and Andrew, we're both turning 70 in less than 30 days. So what the heck? We're just getting started.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that's the case, that you're just getting started.
Amen.
I had a moment this morning of grief. It's like I'm seeing so much now, and it's like, wow, it took me so long. I couldn't.
I know. Rich.
I don't know if I'm going to have time to bring it over the finish line. It's like there's so much here that's so beautiful. Why didn't anybody tell me this and help me learn this years ago? And well, it's what it is. But
We finished that meeting yesterday, Bob, with our colleagues in the Unity Academy, and I walked right downstairs out of the meeting, out of this office, and walked out on the deck to my 87-year-old mother-in-law who's moved in with us. So she's got us by 17 years. And we dropped right into the conversation that you're just having about that moment of grief. And like, yeah, there's that part of it. Just some of it just takes time, and what a gift it is. And whatever time we get to have on this earth, just need to lean all the way in and take advantage of it. It's really a gift. It's really a big deal. Life is a gift.
yeah, it is. Patrick O'Connor, who I'm learning a lot from, he's constantly saying, "You're not late, beloved. You're not late. You're not late, beloved."
Mm.
And I still haven't fully digested that one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to work on the digestion of that one myself. I'm sure glad you left me with something I don't have to think about.
Well, I don't have that one resolved.
Yeah. Okay. I got to get at
late
least
to the
another
party.
decade in.